DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one package, one mindset, a bunch of frameworks, a bunch of different approaches, and a bunch of books, and this daily masterclass, all under one umbrella that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is stop tolerating losers. Yes, stop tolerating losers in your life, stop tolerating losers in your business, stop tolerating losers in anything that you are doing. Now, before I get into explaining this episode, let me first tell you that I have a text message line where I want you to text me and tell me the most valuable insight that you got from today's masterclass. Tell me something that you are going to do different. Tell me something you're going to think different. Tell me something that is going to change in you, a paradigm shift that you got from anything that you heard in today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. And once you text me, not only will you be able to engage with me directly through that text line, you will also be receiving my daily motivation text, which I send out every single day to everyone who is in my texting community. So if you want to get my daily motivation text, then text me at, again, 305-384-6894. That is topic again, stop tolerating losers. Now, this episode is a sister episode to what I talked about back in 1058, which is one of my favorite episodes, where I talked about the 3 levels of people, where you have your 2-minute people, your 2-hour people, and your 2-day people. And that is directly telling you how much time you need to spend with each type of individual you come across in life. You need to identify and classify people based on how much time you think they're worthy of when it comes to your life. Because time is your most valuable resource, as we talked about in episode 609, the 5 forms of investment. Time is the most valuable thing that you have, so you have to be very, very stingy with your time. As stingy as you are with your money, and as discerning you are with what you do with your money, be that discerning when it comes to how you are utilizing your time. And today, I'm going to tell you that when you're around some people who are relative to you, those 2-minute individuals, you got to stop tolerating these people around you. Stop tolerating them taking your time. Stop tolerating them sucking up your energy, using your attention, or demanding any of your focus. And if you don't do this, if you neglect to do this, you are doing a disservice to yourself. And I'm going to explain to you why here today. So let's get to it. Point number 1. Topic, once again, is stop tolerating losers. First thing to understand, you can't save everybody. You are not Jesus. At least I don't think you are. You can't save everyone. And while maybe you would like to, it is not your job to do so. It is not your job to save the world. Your first and last priority, and your current priority, is always and will always be you. Will always be yourself. As is the same for everyone else. When other people want to be saved, they'll come and find you. All right, the 2-hour person, that's the person who might be ready to ascend up to the level that you're at. The 2-minute people, they're not coming your way. They're not looking for you at all. The 2-hour people are the people who are in the middle. Maybe one day they're serious about wanting to get their game up. The next day they're not serious about it anymore. You don't really know how they're going to be from day to day. And it's not your job to keep taking their temperature. It's your job to keep doing what you need to do. And if and when they're ready to get to the level that you're at, they know where you are. They know who you are, and they know what you're about. They will come find you. When they want to be saved, they'll come looking for you. Remember what I told you again in 1058, 2 minutes, 2 hours, and 2 days. When they're ready to get to your level, they will seek you out, they will come to you, and they will do what is necessary to get to the level that you're at. They will make the investment. If they're not making as much investment as you're making, then you're making a mistake by continuing to invest in them. You never invest more in another person than they are willing to invest in themselves. Why? Because that's just bad business. It's just bad mathematics. Now, I took calculus in college 4 times, but I do understand this math. Those people you deal with have to be willing to move towards you to get help if they want it. As they say, whenever a rescue helicopter or a rescue boat goes out to sea to capture some people who might have been in a capsized boat, or they're drowning for whatever reason, they're lost at sea, and the boat or the helicopter has to decide who can they save. It might be too many people for them to even fit on the helicopter. their rule of thumb is this: save the people who are moving towards you. Save the people who are actually trying to get to where you're at. And the people who aren't trying to move towards you, then you're just gonna have to let them drown. It's a harsh reality of life, but this is the way that it works, folks. Why is this? Because again, you can't save everybody. You can't pull everybody up, especially the people who don't want to be pulled up. You can't save somebody from drowning if they're not trying to even save themselves from drowning. You try to save a person who is drowning, who doesn't want to save themselves, what's actually going to happen is two people going to drown, them and you. So you got to be willing to discern who's really moving towards me and really wants this thing that I'm doing, and who's not really moving towards me. And it seems like I'm trying to pull them up more than they're trying to pull themselves up. And that's a bad business move by you, and a bad allocation of your resources to make this mistake. I told you in episode number 1431 about discernment, which is your skill of perception and judgment. If you haven't listened to that episode, then go back and listen to it. It is linked down below in the show notes. It is a discipline on your end to let people be who they have chosen to be. And if people have chosen to be 2-minute individuals, it is your job, it's your responsibility to let them be who they want to be. Why? Because it's not your life to live. You got your life, they have theirs. If they want to be a 2-minute person, they don't want to swim towards you, they don't want to elevate their game, even if you think they could elevate their game, even if you think they should elevate their game, even if you think you could help them elevate their game, it's not your job to do it for them. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is stop tolerating losers. Number 2, I told you in episode number 1282 about the 51-49 rule. What does it mean? It means helping people who help themselves. That's what I told you in episode 1282. When you're trying to help a loser, and my definition of a loser is a person who does not have goals, doesn't have any aspiration to get anywhere or do anything. They're kind of just floating by. Wherever the wind goes, they're just allowing things to get that way. Or you could define a loser relative to where you're at and what you're trying to do in life. All right, if you're trying to win, all right, who's the opposite of that? Who's doing the opposite of what you're trying to do? You could define them that way if you want, but just to make sure you know my definition of a loser. Trying to help somebody who's losing only creates a second loser. All right, you as a winner, no matter how great of a winner you think you are, you cannot pull a loser out of the dumpster and make them into a winner. That is impossible. Now, you can help a loser who's in the dumpster. If they want to get out of the dumpster, you can help them, but you can't pull them out of there if they don't want to leave. You follow what I'm saying? Because a loser will pull you down before you will be able to pull them up. How do I know this? Because you might think, man, I'm such a great leader, Dre. I have such a strong positive influence on people. I know I can help people when I get around them. I do not doubt you. I believe you that you can pull people up. But understand something. Negative energy is stronger than positive energy. I don't know why. I don't know why it ended up being like this, but that's just the way that it is. Negativity travels faster than positivity. Negative energy is stronger than positive energy. This is why if you look around in life, you'll find more people who have a negative outlook on things than you find people who have a positive outlook. More people can count more reasons to feel bad about their current situation than people who can count reasons to feel positive about their situation. Why is this? Again, I don't know. I wouldn't sign up for that class. If someone isn't on your level, but you think they could be, here's the discipline. Don't try to pull them up to where you are. Do not try to pull them up. Again, if they're ready to move up, they will come find you and they will do most of the work. They'll do at least 51% of the work. 51-49 rule means the person who wants to be helped needs to assume 51% of the responsibility, at least for what they want. And then 49% can come from someone else, but hopefully it's a bigger ratio than that. But whoever is the person that wants the thing, they own at least 51%. They are a majority stakeholder in their success, a majority stakeholder in the outcomes that they want to achieve in their lives. You cannot pull somebody up to where you are unless they want to be pulled up. You can offer some advice to another person. You can set an example, but that person must choose to get up to speed and stay up to speed. I mean, you've heard the stories, right, of all these great leaders who galvanize their teams and make everybody better. But here's the part that you don't hear when those stories get told. Not everyone who they come across sticks around to be galvanized, to get moved up to that next level. So when you hear the stories of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, they just pulled everybody up. Any team that they're on, they just pull everybody up with them and make all their teammates better, make everyone around them better. Everyone who's around Jeff Bezos or Steve Jobs or Oprah, they pull these people up and they make them great. That's the story that gets told, but here's the story that doesn't get told. All the bodies that got left behind of people who didn't stay on the team because they didn't want to live up to the standards that a LeBron or a Jordan or a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs or an Oprah set. Those people set high standards. Not everybody who comes around them becomes a success. There are some people who are around those individuals, these great leaders who get recognized as pulling everybody up and making everybody around them better. Understand, there were some people who had been around those folks who did not become successes because they weren't able to be pulled up because they didn't want to be pulled up. They didn't want to go to that higher level. They didn't want to live up to the standard that was being set by that person who was in charge. They don't tell you about those people, but those people exist. I'm telling you about them right now. So I got to make sure you know everything. So understand, being a great leader is not a magic trick. All right, you need cooperation from the people that you're leading. All right, as I told you, the best coaches have the best players. The best leaders have the best followers. People who are willing to follow, people who want to do the work, and people who want to be held to a certain standard. And people who didn't want to cooperate with that, they got to go. They're not going to stay around and everybody moves on to something else because those people just don't want to stay at that level. So understand that this is part of the game that you have to deal with. Don't think that just because you're a leader that everybody you touch is going to turn to gold. It does not work that way. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is stop tolerating losers. Number 3, time is your most valuable asset. I mean, we talk about this damn near every episode of the show. This gets recognized that time is your most valuable asset. I talked about this again in episode 609. Having the wrong people in your life will destroy you. I told you at the beginning of the year 2021, the most important thing you can do for the year 2021, that was episode 1693. The one best thing to focus on is people. Getting the right people around you is the most valuable thing that you can do this year. Why is that? And it's the most valuable thing you can do every year, honestly, but I just use this year as an example. The reason why this is so important is because having the right people around you can do more for you than anything you can do on your own. There's no amount of work that you can do by yourself that's going to be more valuable than what you can get from other people. Why is this? Because other people know things and know people and have hands that you don't have, eyes that you don't have, brains that you don't have, access and resources and attention and focus that you don't have. You can only do one thing at a time, but 2 people can do 2 things at a time. One person can only focus on one thing at a time. 2 people can focus on 2 things at a time. So you've already doubled your productivity when you have another person on your team, another person helping you out. So you need to get the right people around you. And by the same token, the wrong people can destroy you faster than you could destroy yourself almost. Why? Because the negativity of another person can pull you down right to where they're at. And again, a negative person will pull you down faster than a positive person can pull you up. So having the wrong people in your life can destroy all the goodwill and all the hard work and all the positive stuff that you've done to put yourself in the position that you're in. Having the wrong person around you can destroy the whole situation that fast. Don't waste your resources anywhere that there is very little return on investment. Why? Because that's just bad business. It's a bad investment. It's a bad investment to put your time, money, attention, energy, and focus into anything that's not going to give you a return. And you can decide what the return is, but you need to know what the return is. And a person who's not willing to do the work to get up to the level that you're at, they're not going to produce a return because they're not going to get the result. No matter how much you try to give them, no matter how much you try to give them the game, no matter how much you try to put them on, if someone who doesn't want to be put on is not going to be put on. Or you can try as hard as you want. There is no ROI there, especially with people who don't or won't appreciate it. Being a loser is not about where somebody's at in life. It's not about what they have materially. It's about where they are mentally and where they want to go, what they're aiming for via their consistent actions. That's what I mean when I say someone's being a loser. It has nothing to do with anything material or anything that you can count. It has to do with their actions, has to do with their mentality, has to do with their aim, has to do with their focus. And if someone's in that position, you can't save anyone. You can't save them from being there, but you can die by their misery. You can die trying to pull somebody up to a level that they just don't want to be at. So you got to decide what's worth it and what's not worth it for you. Because again, you can die by another person's misery. Robert Greene talks about this in the 48 Laws of Power. Stay away from the unhappy and the unlucky. People who are just negative people who just have a negative outlook, people who are not really trying to go anywhere, they can pull you down. Now again, if you think you're the exception, you can try, but don't say nobody told you. I talked about in episode number 1942, 3 signs of people being a loser. Episode 1854, the 4 deadly habits of losers. Episode 1786, why fighting fair is for losers and idiots. In episode number 1646, complaining is for losers. Episode 1567, how you fall behind by getting even with losers. Episode number 1059, the loser's question, which is, what should I do? Episode 752, if you're not going after what you want, you are a loser. And episode number 31, bullshit excuses that losers use. Listen to those episodes so that you can, not because you're diagnosing yourself, because you need to look out for the type of people that may come around, or the people who are around you. They may see the spoils of your success, but they don't realize the work that went into it. They don't realize the time, effort, money, attention, and focus that went into creating the outcomes that you have. They want the result, but they don't want to do the work. All right, they want to be there at the finish line, but they don't want to run the race. You got to make sure you're good at discerning who those people are and keep them away from you, because again, time is your most valuable resource. Let's recap today's class, which is stop tolerating losers. This is a sister to episode 1058, where I talked about the 3 levels of people. Number 1, you cannot save everybody unless you fashion yourself as a higher being. It is not your job to save everyone. Your first, current, and last priority is always yourself, as is the same for everyone else. When someone wants to be saved, they will come find you. It is your discipline that allows you to discern who needs your time and who does not. Point number 2, the 51-49 rule. Never put more effort into someone else's success than they're willing to put into their own success. All right, they got to give at least 51%. They got to be the majority ownership. They got to have majority ownership stake in their success, and you can be a minority partner. That's episode number 1282, 51-49 rule. You cannot pull people up to where you are. Their negativity will pull you down faster than your positivity can pull them up. All these people you hear of who are great leaders and pull people up, understand they didn't pull up everybody. There are some people who just didn't make it through the ride. They didn't make it through the journey because they didn't want to be held to a certain standard. Those stories don't get told, but they've been told today. Point number 3, time is your most valuable asset. Having the wrong people in your life will destroy you. Do not waste your time where there is very little ROI, especially on people who don't or won't appreciate that time. Being a loser is not about where someone's at or what they have. If you're trying to figure out who's who or what's what, it's about where somebody's going, where they're at mentally, what are they aiming for, what are they focused on via their consistent actions. You cannot save everybody, but you surely can die trying. Now, if you're looking to connect with the right type of people, you want to make sure that you're being the right type of person so that you can strategically start to build your relationships, build your business, get in front of the right people, and move yourself up through relationships, through networking, through politics, like we talked about a few days ago. You may be a great candidate for my 3rd-day mastermind. It's the only place where I work with people one-on-one and directly. It's the most valuable thing that I offer because it requires my most valuable resource, my one-on-one time. And the only way to get into that, you can't just buy your way in, is you must hop on a Zoom call with me first. I want to know who you are, where you're at, what you're about, where you're headed, where you see yourself going 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and then we'll talk about how we can get there. Only way to get on that call is to go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Links down below in this show description, and click on the link that says join the mastermind. You'll fill out a quick form. We'll hop on a Zoom call and we'll talk about what we need to talk about and go from there. Everyone who's listening, if you want to get my daily motivation text message, send me a text at 305-384-6894. You'll get that very next daily motivation text that I send out, and you can engage with me directly there. So if you had a question or comment or something that you really loved about what you heard here today, text me, tell me what it is. Again, 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre, all